YPC TV's Property News Update UK edition. Today's the 18th of November 2010 and I'm Brett Allegra Wood. It's Christmas and as usual we're having a party, so if you haven't booked in for our Christmas party or our Christmas fiesta on the 3rd of December, jump on the site and book in. This year we're going to have it at a Spanish bar, so we expect lots of tapas, sombreros, but also of course beers and sangria. Okay, well, as you can see, week 3 of YPC's November, and next week you'll see the final photos, and I'll unveil my masterpiece that I've got planned for this beardy thing that I've got on right now. Also, we have a massive project that I'm unveiling next week. It's called the 100,000 Book Project. It's sort of a Jamie Oliver style of school dinners aimed at getting basic financial education out there. So more on that next week. Okay, well, this week we're going to cover, first of all, unemployment falls under 1.5 million. So that's really good news for the recovery. Buying is now cheaper than renting. Fantastic. The Monetary Policy Committee is still split between their fair decisions. And also, should you be looking at fixing your mortgage? Also, we're going to look at the FSA, one of my favourite topics. Are they robots or are they actually, managing for real people? And it really seems that the management they're doing is very much on robotic mode. But we'll talk more about that. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so unemployment falls while Bank of England split 3 ways over interest rates. So look, I just thought I'd cover one bit here, that the actual claimant court or the unemployment figures they look at has dropped to 1.47 million, which is great news, okay? It's actually been under 1.5 for a while. So if you remember at the start of the recession, lots of people were talking about 3 million, that it was going to break through 3 million. We've never got close to that. And that actually has been really good. Now, if you think about it, we got up to about 2.25. I think that was the top. We're at 1.5. If you take off or you add on 500,000 public sector jobs, actually, we're not in too bad a situation, okay? Normally, a million people unemployed is nothing untoward, okay? So that's good news for recovery. It means people are out there, they've got jobs. Now, a lot of those people, interestingly, have been over there, or the people that are on unemployment have been there for more than 6 months. So that's something we need to address. And I think the benefits side of things and what they're proposing around the benefits, if you look at it, they're actually, what they've done is they've borrowed that policy from President Clinton. So Bill Clinton put a thing in. At first he was very unfavourable. Nobody liked it. Nobody liked the idea of, taking the poor off benefits and putting them out to work. But actually, within 2 years of doing that strategy, which is the same strategy they're looking to do here, okay, the poor's income had risen by 35%. So realistically, I think one of the good things the coalition government is doing now is they're looking to other countries and they're looking at what has worked and then they're looking at bringing it over here. And that's fantastic. And I think actually still, I think they're doing a good job, and I think we've got to give them the leeway, to actually get that job done. So for me, no double dip. I don't think that's going to happen. Okay, so buying is now cheaper than renting. Yeah, it's now cheaper to buy a property than rent in 80% of towns and cities in Great Britain. All right. Now, what that means and what they're talking about there is what it costs to actually rent versus what the mortgage payments are on a property. Okay, it's cheaper to buy a property. Prices have come down incredibly, and that's fantastic news. Okay, so as I've been saying for quite a while now, now's the time to be jumping in, getting hold of those bargains, locking them away, because when the market kicks again, which it will, it doesn't matter what the FSA, the Bank of England, anyone does. We live in a boom-bust inflationary society, and nobody, no one person, no one country, we're not possible. I mean, it's inbred in us to have this boom-bust, okay? So eventually we will turn it around, and it will come back around, and I think a lot of us are already starting to see things getting back into recovery, which is good news. So, buying cheaper than renting, this is good. And actually the point that I wanted to make here was it was due to falling house prices, which obviously has already happened, and rising rents. And the rising rents is something that you guys need to be watching out for. If you're using YPC Lettings, no problems. We're trying to put the rent up all the time. But if you're using another agent, you need to be onto them all the time saying, hey, rents are rising, why aren't mine? Okay? So by all means, question them as much as possible. All right? Okay, so Monetary Policy Committee is split over the best rates policy for the economy. Now, what you've got is you've got the middle ground, which is saying stay put. All right? Then you've got one guy, okay, on one end, which is Adam Poison, and then you've got Andrew Sentence on the other one. One saying pump more money in, one saying raise interest rates. Now, in some ways, okay, I'm in sort of both camps where I think they could possibly raise interest rates a little bit. I think that would bring some stability back to the markets. It would actually bring some, especially some relief for savers and things. Although we're not quite there yet, maybe not. I think let's get over Christmas, see how the VAT thing happens there, and have that quantitative easing ready to go. But I think the correct decision right now is to sit on the fence, and I certainly would be sitting on the fence. But I can see both views. Who's right? I'm never one to manage an economy based purely on inflation. They were doing that as they come into the recession. They realised that failed, so I wouldn't be doing it on the way out, okay? I think you need to use many different parameters to manage an economy. So right now, everything's on hold, so interest rates are on hold, all right? But one of the things that we need to look at, and this is one of the articles, which is, this is from Love Money, but what they're talking about here is, is it time to fix your mortgage right now? And the reason they're saying this is because swap rates, okay, now these are the rates that banks effectively can swap out, lend to each other, and it's not just banks, but effectively what it is, it's the wholesale market, if you like. So whereas you and I borrow money at retail, these are the wholesale guys, and generally swap rates are what we look at. Okay, and we can look 2 years, 3 years, 5 years out into the future, and that will tell us sort of what rates are possibly be doing. And so what I thought I'd do is I'd just show you that, what happened. The Bank of England report come out. It was 3.2% inflation. Okay, edged a little bit higher, but still nothing. It means that the bank, the Governor Mervyn King, has to report to the Chancellor to explain why, but nothing too much to worry about. And I think we're going to run high inflation for a while. Within 5 years, swap rates went from 2.13 to 2.25. So not a huge jump, but it's still significant. They have come up. Yeah, if you look at, say, a 2 year swaps from 1.43 to 1.5, okay? 3 year swaps 1.79 to 1.81. So not massive jumps, but what they're saying is, hold on a sec, if this is what they're buying wholesale, they may pass this on retail. So it doesn't necessarily mean the base rate is going to go up, but what you might find is the rates that you're paying will jump up a little bit, okay? Because obviously the wholesale, where the banks are borrowing their money from, has edged up, all right? And on this, we can see the trend that's happening. So we can see, if we look, 1.7, then 1.4, or 1.2, 1.4, 1.5 for 2 year, 1.7 for 3 year, and 2.1 for 5 year. So you can sort of see it's edging up, which is exactly what we would expect coming out of a recession, okay? And especially when coming from such a low base. All right, my favourite subject, the FSA and their mortgage market. Mortgage market is too important to mess up, and I absolutely agree this. If you want to lead an economy out of recession, you do it via the housing market, because if you pump the housing market, what actually happens is that feeds out through every different industry, carpenters, plumbers, who then go and spend at shops, at supermarkets. It just gets the whole thing moving. So, the housing industry, whilst, everyone wants to, the politicians would like to blame it and they want to solve the boom and bust, they are not going to be. And I think this is really what sums up what the FSA is trying to do, and why I think it's wrong, and I'm not the only one that thinks about this. A lot of people are coming out with this. The FSA is trying to construct a total fail-safe structure where nobody ever loses. Yeah, this is impossible. Moreover, if you remove all the personal responsibility, from an individual's decision to take on debt, you create a moral hazard. And I think realistically, there's 2 points there. First of all, the only way you create a total fail-safe structure is if you're a robot run by a computer. Yeah. Now, I don't know about you, but I certainly aren't. I'm a human being, free choice, all that sort of thing. What they're trying to do is take away your ability to make mistakes, all right? Your ability not to control every bit or every aspect. It's impossible. They are not going to succeed. All they're going to do is restrict, stuff up the whole market, okay? Nobody's ever been able to achieve this in the history of mankind. So why should a bunch of bumbling idiots called the FSA be able to do that, all right? They can't, and they won't, all right? Now, haven't heard a lot from them, but we did hear from the chairman the other day say they're not trying to do it for now's economy, they're trying to do it for later, so we don't get into the boom bust again. Silly concept, all right? Really, I think that if the one thing that will work, and the one thing that has worked, is by giving people personal responsibility. educating them. By educating them so they make decisions, fully informed decisions. Certainly, you know, the higher your education, the less likely you are to get yourself into problems, because you'll put away savings, you'll put away 3 months of income, and all these sort of things. You know, that's really the way to do this. What they should be is trying to get education to every school. You know, it'll probably take a decade, but you imagine if every single school child spent, you know, one subject every year just talking about how to use bank accounts, how to save, all the financial stuff. Imagine how that would change the landscape that we have. Anyway, guys, have a great week, and we'll speak again next week.